All right, everybody, what's going on? And welcome to today's edition of Swag Talk, the show we cover the swag inside and out. And I am your tour guide around the swag Seawells coming at you. And today, we're just going to talk a little bit about coaching hires. As you can see, the title, Coaching Hires to Splash or Not to Splash. I'm going to break that down in a minute. This video is actually being dropped because I dropped Ed Reed rumor video yesterday. And then as soon as I got it uploaded to YouTube, Bethune-Cookman announced officially that Ed Reed would be the head coach. So I felt like I didn't do that news any justice with the video that I dropped. So this is just a little bit more since it's official. We'll talk a little bit more about the move officially, and also another move that was made. Arkansas Pine Bluff hire head coach Alonzo Hampton. That move kind of got lost in the shuffle. We talked about it on Swag Smoke a bit, but we're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about which direction a team should go when they make a hire, and all of that. So as you can see, you can hit those socials. They're on the screen. Facebook is Swag Talk, Instagram Swag Talk, Twitter Swag Talk 76. You can subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. We're making our way to 800. So we're making that good march. I'd like to thank you if you've already subscribed, man. If you haven't, man, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and help me out there. Also, like the videos, man. Feel free to share them and comment, your thoughts on, to splash higher or not splash higher or in between, because there's always, there's always a middle ground in everything. There's never always just one extreme or the other. So basically, I'm going to start off talking about when I say to splash or not to splash. I'm going to start off with not making a splash and why that's, why that is, and how, if that's important at all. First and foremost, man, obviously we all know that any time you hire a coach, it's not a slam dunk, no matter where he come from, no matter who he is. There's always factors beyond the X and O's on the field that can stop a coach from being successful at any stop. So just because you make a splash hire doesn't mean that your team is off and running and championship's going to be falling in your lap. And just because you make a low-key or non-sexy hire doesn't mean your team is going to be trash, for the whole time that coach is there. But there's always going to be, people that point and look at different selections. And this is basically strictly from the standpoint of when that guy was hired. Obviously, I can't say into the future. So neither one of these two guys that I'm going to talk about as not as examples that aren't, obviously they haven't coached at their respective schools yet, and we don't know what they're going to do. So this basically is me just talking about the hire, the name the guy brings with him, the ability to put together a good staff, the ability to recruit, the ability to put a spark into a program, and all the other factors like that. So this is basically all the rigmarole and not the X's and O's, because we have no idea what either one of these guys are going to do as a head coach, since they're both first-time head coaches. We'll start with the name that a lot of people don't even know, and that's Alonzo Hampton. And there's multiple reasons why this move is obviously not really a splash. If you kept up with this coaching search, from somewhat of a distance, then you never really saw his name in this. Now, if you a Pine Bluff person and you connected, you might have knew this already. But they had reports coming out about multiple other guys being finalists and not him. So that makes me wonder whether these guys told him no, or they didn't, they couldn't reach an agreement, or they just really, had that as a smoke screen. Somebody threw that out there, and this was going to be their guy all along. The hire on paper is not a bad hire. It's one of those things where a lot of people obviously don't know this guy, and he's been around. He's coached at Pine Bluff as well. So he does have some experience coaching at Pine Bluff. He does have some experience coaching in the SWAC. So he has that under his belt. But this is a guy that obviously when you say a name, it doesn't jump out at you. And that's fine. to me, that's fine. You hire a guy that you feel that fits your program. But to me, this situation, especially with Pine Bluff, being in the situation that they're in, and kind of looking at what their record has been since 2012, going back 10 years. 2012, they went 10-2. They won the SWAC, won the West Division, won the SWAC. 2013, they went 2-9. 2014, 4-7. 2015, 2-9. 2016, 1-10. 2017, 2-9. 2018, 2-9. 2019, they went 6-5. Then the spring of 2021, because nobody played in 2020, they went 4-1 and won the West. Went to the SWAC championship. 2021 fall, they went 2-9 again. And then this past season, they went 3-8. So as you can see, this is a program that has not had any success consistently. They've only had 3 winning records in that 10-year span. Although 2 of those winning records were division championships and 1 was a SWAC championship. So when they've had success, they've had success. But that's been the nature of Pine Bluff. That's as a team that is always up and down. Coach Hampton coached at Pine Bluff in 2006 when they went to the SWAC championship. They and then the next year they were 4-7. So to me, you're getting a guy that kind of knows what goes on at the school. You kind of get a guy that knows the area. He coached high school football in Arkansas. So he knows the area. But to me, this is the thing, man. To me, this guy doesn't bring a great pedigree with him. I don't know what kind of coaching tree he's going to be able to reach out to. I guess he's a part of the Willie Tiger tree, so maybe he can reach into that and scoop some guys. But to me, when you look at the name and you look at the program, I feel like you needed a guy that can both give a boost of energy to this program. Anybody that knows Pine Bluff knows that's a tough place to coach because the fan support is not always there. You're not necessarily isolated, but you're still away from everybody else in the conference. Although you're in an area where Texas is right there, Mississippi, Louisiana, all are fertile grounds around you to recruit. Arkansas, as a SWAC school, you got that to yourself, but you obviously got to battle the bigger schools in the state. I feel like this was a position that needed that splash. Now, I'm not saying an ex-NFL Hall of Fame type of guy. I'm just saying a coach that has a name, that has had success, that can give the program a shot in the arm to, entice season ticket sales, to entice attendance, to, entice merchandise sales, to entice kids to come and play for you. Because, unless this guy gets some dogs on his staff that can go out there and hunt on the recruiting trail, it's going to be tough. I mean, obviously with the portal, you can get guys to go anywhere with the portal. But at some point, you're gonna have to dip into the high school ranks, and even with the portal, you still have to recruit these guys to this program. And like I said, this is a program that hasn't had a lot of sustained success. So I feel like this is the job that needed a splash hire, and this was not a splash hire. I'm familiar with this guy from his time his brief time in Florida State. I didn't, he kind of bounced around. Other than that, but I think that this guy is not the name that gets people to sit up and take notice. A program like this obviously needs that guy that's gonna, make people go, whoa, let me see what they're up to. With the early signing period passed, they didn't have a guy in place. They're behind a little bit, and I don't really see, at least from the outside looking in, I don't really see a lot of wheels turning. And to me, that's a bad thing because this is a program that's stagnant and they're drifting backwards. You needed something and somebody to get this program a quick boost and a push, man. So you can name anybody you want, but there was gonna have to be somebody that had the work ethic to come in here and get down in the mud and get dirty and get it out the mud and work. So you needed that guy that could get out there and shake hands, kiss babies, and do the whole nine. Now, I'm not saying that Alonzo Hampton can't do that. We don't know. But when you look at it on paper and on the surface, he doesn't excite me. And normally I'm not a guy that gets excited about, oh, I need this guy to be this and that. I look at what that guy can do for the program, how he fits it. Um, but this case, I just felt like they needed a name. They needed something to shake it up. They needed something outside the box, and I don't think they did that. So to me, this. Like I said, I can't give the hire a grade because we haven't seen his staff. We haven't seen how he's going to recruit. We haven't even you have to wait at least a year before you can actually grade a guy on his hire as a hire, because I feel like there's not enough variables in place for a guy that's just getting there with no head coaching track record. So that's basically incomplete status until we see what happens. But this, let me tie back into my topic. A non-splash hire guy, it can be a really solid coach. Just for history's sake, if you look at Southern, when they hired Pete Richardson in '92, that was not a splash hire. Nobody really knew who he was. Southern had played Winston-Salem State, where he coached the year before, and they blew him out. So a lot of people didn't really, feel like this is a guy that could come in our program and do anything. And, he came in and he, as you saw what he did with Southern's program, he got them up and running. So that's not a guy. He's a name now, but he wasn't a name at Southern when he got there. So you don't have to be a splashy guy to get the job done. But I think in this aspect, with this program, you needed a splash guy because they need those waves, man. They need something to happen, and it's not happening. Like, if you look at it, there has been very, very little presence on social media about him being hired at all. I mean, obviously, everybody did they post when he got hired, but that's about it. So you didn't have any momentum, so to speak, when you brought him in, and now you got washed out by a big name hire at another school. So I feel like you're gonna continue to get lost in the shuffle now. He can come in, he can put together a fire staff. He can come in and he can work and get guys out the portal. That want a ball and maybe turn this thing around. We're gonna see that, and I would love to see that. But right now, sitting here, I feel like this is. I can't even call it a safe hire because this guy, he doesn't have a head coaching track record to fall back on. He wasn't on the staff, this year or last year. So you playing it safe by hiring from within. This is a risk. That's one of the things that I look at with a non-splash hire. The risk is high for both, but the risk for a non-splash guy to me is higher because he's not going to get the leeway from the fans because he doesn't have anything to entice them and kind of give him a longer honeymoon period. So that's my theory or argument for should you have a non-splash hire or should you make a non-splash hire or should you not make a non-splash hire? I think it's okay to make a non-splash hire as long as you vet this guy and you know that he can do what it needs to take to get your program back on track. Now, maybe Pine Bluff feel that way. We'll see. But that takes me to the other extreme, and that's a splash hire. And when you talk about splash hires, man, it don't get no splashier than a guy like Ed Reed. That's a name that everybody had on every coaching job that was available. Hell, even some coaching jobs that wasn't available, people was like, man, get rid of that dude and bring in Ed Reed. Obviously, like I said yesterday, his resume as a player speaks for itself. College football Hall of Famer, NFL Hall of Famer. He doesn't have a lot of coaching experience, just like even less than Alonzo Hampton, because Alonzo Hampton, which was our non-splash hire example, is a lifelong assistant. And this guy has 1 year of assistant coaching with the Buffalo Bills, and then he spent the last 2 years as the chief of staff of the Miami Hurricane football program. So he does have some experience working with college football, the ins and outs, the behind the scenes, that helps a lot. He's inheriting a program that has been down these last couple of years. But if you go back 10 years, Bethune-Cookman was 9-3. They were 9-3. They went to the playoffs. They were 10-3. Went to the playoffs. They were 9-3 in 2014. They were 9-2 in 2015. 2016 they were 4-6. 2017 they were 7-4. 2018 they were 7-5. 2019 they were 7-4. They did not play in 2020 because of the COVID year. 2021 they went 2-9. That was their first year in the SWAC, and then this past season they went 2-9 again. So they are on a downward trend. But this program, the last few years, has been very successful. 7 winning seasons out of basically 10 years. So 9 seasons, because they did not have a COVID season. So 7 winning seasons out of 9 years. That's a consistent, solid program that has come up, that fell on hard times. I don't know how much of that is because they moved to the SWAC, how much of it is because they lost a lot of guys. But this past season, the offense was really good. The defense wasn't so hot, and that cost them in a lot of games. But you're bringing in a guy that's familiar with the state of Florida, that has a national name. He's all over the place. Everybody knows who he is. So you're getting that sexy name. You're getting that splash, that boost. Guys are already, coming out of the portal to come back to Bethune-Cookman. Guys are already, stating they're getting offers from Bethune-Cookman. Guys are already looking now. You're getting that attention. You're getting the build up on social media of people who are finding out who Bethune-Cookman is. You're getting all of that comes with this name. And that's a very good thing. Now you got a guy that can probably reach into some channels and put together a good coaching staff. You got a guy, like I said, that's going to be able to go in any home and recruit neck to neck with guys, because he has that name and people are going to be willing to invest in his success. To me, that's the biggest difference in this hire and the Hampton hire. People are going to give every the leeway to make his growing spurts, growing pains, whatever you want to call it. He's going to have that, because he's going to have a safety net from all areas. He, his risk is high, but his risk is not critically high. He can flame out and go with the wind, but he's going to have and not necessarily resources from the school standpoint, but from outside entity standpoint, he's going to have those safety nets to help him. He's going to have people that vouch for him, that get into kids' homes, that get into guys that's going into the portal, and tap him on the shoulder and say, man, hey, why don't you check this team out? This guy, he's a solid dude. So he's coming with that kind of stuff. And it is not just the NFL Hall of Fame type of coach that you get like that. A guy who put in the work, a guy that has a serious head coaching resume, a guy, any big name coach that comes in is a splash hire, because this guy comes with something that's gonna excite the fan base. It's gonna excite the masses, and that's what this is. That's why this is a super splash hire. Everybody knows this, and everybody's been asking for this for every school. So Bethune-Cookman getting this, they made the splash of all splashes, especially with the departure of Coach Sanders from Jackson State, and that opens up that void of a big figure to come in. Now, he's not Coach Prime in terms of personality, but he's gonna have that work ethic. He's gonna, I expect him to put together a really solid staff. Now, all of this is speculation because we don't know, but I think a lot of times, like I said, people are more willing to give the splashy guy more of a leeway than the non-splashy guy, because that non-splashy guy, well, nobody wanted him. Because you want somebody, you're willing to work with them and give them the boost that they need and give them the leeway. So these are two programs that are kind of both going in the same direction right now, but with perception, Bethune-Cookman is trending up right now. You know, they are 4-18 in the last 2 years. But in a lot of people's eyes, Bethune-Cookman is on the rise because they have a coach that people know. Pine Bluff is viewed as still being at the bottom um, because they hired a coach that don't nobody know. Or if they know him, they know he not a guy who comes with a great track record. So that's pretty much where I stand on to splash or not to splash. And I said all of that to say that it all depends on your program. If you're a program that's already winning and your coach moves on, you don't have to necessarily get a special big name guy. You just have to get the guy that fits what you want to do. And that was TC Taylor. He was, I mean, he's a name a lot of people know. He's not a huge name, but he's not an unknown. He was a guy that was at the right place at the right time that deserved that job. He worked his way up. He put in the work. He grinded. He took ups and downs. He's alum. He played there. He knows what it is to be a JSU Tiger. And he hit the ground running recruiting. That's I wouldn't even say that's a splashy hire or non-splashy hire, but that's the kind of guy that you can have if you're looking for something that's not necessarily flashy in terms of the name of your hire. So he's more the middle ground, but you can have either one. Like I said, it depends on the state of your program, what your expectations are, what your fan base's expectations are, the way you at as a program. Are you winning? Are you losing? If you're losing, are you on a super downward trend? If you are, you need something that's going to give you an immediate boost, and shoot you up with a rocket, or do you have a young team that's losing and you think just the right guy to turn them around and mix and mold what you got? That kind of team you probably can get away with not a huge name. If you're a program that's down and out and you need something, I think you need that splashy guy because you really don't have anything to lose. If he comes in and he doesn't perform, well, you would never expected to win in the first place. So you have nothing to lose. The shot of adrenaline you're going to get from this guy, even short term, is greater than anything that you had before. So I think that Bethune-Cookman got the right hire, man. I think they, as far as all the intangibles and everything, I think they got the right guy. Now we'll see what he does when he puts together his staff, and we'll see what he does, on game days and the day-to-day operations of the program. Which, being a guy that's familiar with the behind-the-scenes stuff, I think he'll be better served at that kind of stuff because I think he's more familiar with a lot of that. So I think he'll be good there. Now Pine Bluff, I think you need to you need to name a staff as soon as possible. You need to if you have it, you need to announce it and get on the trail, man. And you need to really, really have some dogs out there recruiting because you need to catch up. I mean, you're in the West. Everybody in the West was up and down last season, but everybody in the West is a contender in that division. And right now, you're the only team who is nowhere near contending for the title right now in the division. So you need to catch up, and you need somebody that's going to come in and play the portal big time because you missed the early signing period. I don't know if you signed anybody because I didn't see anything, but you missed the early signing period. You need to play the portal, and you need to try to strike some diamonds in the rough in February because you did lose some big time guys off your team to the portal and to graduation. So some of the talent that you did have is leaving. So you need somebody to come in and fill those holes because you're losing your best running back, you're losing one of your top linebackers, you're losing your starting quarterback of the last 2 or 3 seasons. So you have holes that need to be filled, and you need somebody that can come in here and make some things happen. So Alonzo Hampton, I think you got your work cut out for you, man. I think you need to put your nose in the grindstone. I think you need to reach into that coaching tree you came out of and see what you can get to help you and go from there. So with that being said, man, I'd like to thank y'all for tuning in. Don't forget to catch Swag Smoke tomorrow live, 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern. Special guest Asias Guthrie, Jackson State Tiger, new transfer this past week. He's gonna stop by and chop it up with us, and we'll just do what we do. So with that being said, man, I'm C Wells, your tour guide. I'm signing out. Y'all have a good hump day, and we'll catch y'all on the rebound. Peace.